And now I want to talk about another very important point, because a lot of humans think that they love their animal more by giving them a lot of food. You get what I'm saying? Because it pulls on your heartstring when you see an animal always begging for food, but that's just what they naturally always do. You get what I'm saying? They always beg for food. But in the wild, do they have that available at all costs? They don't always have that available. You know, my cat here, okay, he eats once a day. Okay, he eats once a day. I do give him the raw food from the supermarket, you know, chicken, meat, fish, whatever it may be. Okay, I also have long-term goals, which I'm not going to share until it's actually crystallized, but there's certain things that I want to do that are going to put these animals in particular in a natural habitat. You get what I'm saying? But those are long-term goals of mine. Now, a human naturally wants to feed their animal. Over 50% of dogs and cats, okay, are overweight, and this is a fact. All right, dogs especially. I can't tell you how many. See, there's the thing. I bring my dog outside. My dog's very active. I go skating with him. He eats once a day. Very, very hyper active dog. Like, he loves moving around activity wise and whatnot. He's gonna be 5 years old. All right, there's dogs that are his age and they're extremely overweight and they don't even like to basically move anymore, because it's just basically a reflection of their owner. You get what I'm saying? And your pet is a reflection of you. You know, whatever lifestyle you choose to have, the pet mostly mimics that lifestyle. If you're somebody who likes to sit around, eat, and watch TV all day, the animal may tend to lay down next to you and just chill and eat all day as well, and just basically enjoy nothing. Okay, now this is the thing though. You could take a pet to the vet, and again, over 50% of them, all right, are overweight. The vet will never really always tell you that the pet is overweight. For one, very sensitive owners, okay, they have to be very careful with how they even say things, for the simple fact that owners are very sensitive, okay, toward pets in particular. So these things are a very delicate topic. Okay, these pets develop human-like diseases, and the main thing that they do is basically no different than what the pharmaceutical industry does, and that's just medicate the animal. Okay, put the animal on medication rather than detoxing the animal first and completely going on a raw diet for the animal, or what their biologically appropriate diet is, what the animal was designed to actually thrive off of. Okay, because with you, they're just surviving. And the whole thing is that a lot of the times, if an animal's diabetic, they'll put the animal on insulin, okay? And these things are atrocious, destructive for you, for the animal, for whatever it may be. When you have to understand what these symptoms are, okay? These diseases are nothing but symptoms arising from the cause of one thing, and that's what you're consuming. You got diabetes from what you consume. There is genetic weaknesses that are passed down from your parents, because people say, well, no, it's genetics, it runs in the family. Well, it runs in the family if you're eating the same fucking garbage diet that your parents are eating. You're most likely going to eat the same thing. And aside from getting passed down the genetic weaknesses, you're further contributing to making it worse by eating the same diet that got them diabetic. Okay? So that's the problem here. So if you break these patterns, it's kind of like if somebody's born in a poverty household, more than likely the children pick up the same fucking negative patterns, because it's all thought patterns that keep you in that poverty mind state. But when you become aware, what do? You make choices to change that program, right? And then now you can change the generational wealth that you pass down the line. The reason I call it generational wealth is because you always hear people say health is wealth, right? So wealth, your health is passed down from your parents as well, just like generational wealth is passed down from your parents as well, right? But you have to have a certain mind state. You have to have a certain lifestyle as well. So let me make this disclaimer, because YouTube is very delicate. I'm not a medical doctor. Do your own research. I am going to flex that I am an iridologist. I am a lymphatic iridologist, a hypnotist, and a healer. And I'm also a nutrition coach. So these are the things that I do on a human level. Okay, so these are the things that I could speak on, at least surface level. Okay, but when you have an animal that's overweight, okay, just like a human that's added adipose tissue, this is actually what contributes to diabetes a lot faster than somebody who has less body fat. okay? So it's important to realize that because your animal is always begging for food, this is not a good thing, especially if your feed, the way you get a cat or a dog fat a lot faster is with dry kibble, because it's fucking carbohydrates, all right? It's dehydrated food. So they're gonna be dehydrated, they're gonna confuse that for hunger, and then they're gonna keep on eating. Not only that, but aside from that shit, this actually causes that insulin to spike in irregular ways, which actually makes them insulin resistant. And this is what's causing diabetes, and this is also what's causing the overweight to happen in the animal or in the human. Okay, constantly snacking. You see that certain people have dry kibble out for the animal all day, and these animals are just grazing on kibble. They just pass back and forth and graze on the kibble here, graze on the kibble there, all right? And animals should be fasted, just like a human also should be fasted for an extended period of time until it's feeding time. Again, my cat eats once a day, right? So that once a day, they're fasted the whole day, okay? Does my cat look malnourished? What's up, buddy? Does my cat look malnourished? No, this is a very healthy cat, okay? Very healthy cat. Right, buddy? All right, so they eat once a day, okay? I'll feed them a variety of little raw food here, like it may be a piece of chicken. I do give it to them with the bone. They eat the bone and everything in it with the tendon. I actually take I think it's called a mullet or a mallet, and I hit the leg, for example. And what it does is it breaks down the bones in there into smaller pieces. Okay, a lot of people would be like, oh, that's so dangerous because that cuts their intestines. See, this is also more ignorant thinking, because the whole thing is, the only way that could happen is when you cook the food. When you cook the food, you completely change the molecular structure of this bone, and now it starts to splinter in ways that it cannot be broken down by the animal anymore. When it's raw, those acids will break down those bones. In the wild, they eat the prey with bone intact and everything. Okay, are they cutting their intestines with the splinters of the bones of the animals they're eating? They eat rabbits. They eat all these kind of animals outside in the wild. Okay? They eat groundhogs. They eat all these animals that they can hunt, and they'll eat them. I actually saw one of those little ground boring animals. I think it was a groundhog, and the cats out here hunted one of those too. What are the benefits of that for me? They keep my carrots safe, my beets. They don't need none of that, right? But the cats have that under control for me, right? The funny thing is I never put cats in my garden. They just came here. I guess it looks like a little forest for them, so they love the habitat of how everything looks here, and they feel protected and whatnot. And I don't mind them because they don't touch my plants. They don't touch my plants. They don't give a fuck about my plants. They actually hide under my plants, and they'll basically just hunt whatever animal that comes in here would be the ones that eat my fruit. Rabbits, groundhogs, squirrels, whatever it may be, they're gonna hunt them and they're gonna destroy them. Mice. Why would I not want the cats in my garden? Right? So they're doing their job. I do my job, so I don't have to worry about my garden too much. Again, the land works for me. I don't work for the land. This is a business. And it's just like somebody who has a business. You can either go to work, and the only way you make money is when you're under a clock, under somebody else's time, or you can have your business and set it up in a way where you're making money even while you sleep. This is how I have my garden set up. I don't have to water my plants because, again, you can see, look at the amount of mulch that I have here. This is my 5th load already, and I basically spread it all over the garden in a way where it looks like nature, and it holds a lot of moisture. So again, I'm set up for the winter. I set up for the spring. The only time I really work hardest here is in the springtime and in the fall, because the summertime, everything's just thriving. Go out in the garden and just walk around like the CEO with my hands behind my back, just observing how everything is looking, how everything is moving. Like a CEO, just an observant. Okay, from time to time I may get a little communication from one of my plants, maybe a little pruning is in order, right? And I just go and prune. I also have a communication with my plants. So when you talk about channeled energy, yeah, this is channeled energy. Channeled information comes from your plants in a way where it's alien communication. It's not going to come in the way that you humans talk to each other. The same way with animals. You could tell when an animal's down, when an animal's happy, when an animal's comfort and content. You could tell, right? That's a form of communication. You have this communication with your plants. The way you react, I mean, the way you come out, your energy, your presence, your plants react to it. This is what people would categorize you as having a green thumb. right? You may have a green thumb out in the business world as well, where you attract money to you. Are you the type that chases money, or are you the type that's doing something that you want to do, and you actually tune into the frequency of money much easier because you're doing something you want to do? It's something that you are actually building on. The frequency of money, you could buy, you could build buildings and pay people. This is a building frequency, right? So you use that frequency to your advantage. It's attracted to you because money's green. You count money like this, don't you? You count it like this. The same way you have a green thumb in nature, you have a green thumb in business. Okay? So I know I detoured from my topic here, but it is what it is. Sometimes it just as it comes along, I'll just basically say what I want to say. But fat cat, fat cow. You have to understand something that's actually very important here. Whenever you look at an animal and they are overweight, it's how they're eating. They're not eating a biologically appropriate diet. And you think you love them more because you're giving them food. And then when you see somebody with an animal that looks leaner, you say that, oh, you're not feeding your animal. What's going on? And then you kind of want to categorize that as a malnourished animal. That's the natural state. Go into the wild and look at a wolf. Look at these wild dogs, these wild cats. Do they look, if you shave all their hair off, they would look malnourished to you too. They would look malnourished, but this is their healthiest state. This is their thriving state. Again, with you, they're just surviving. That's what it is. They're in unnatural habitat. They're not getting the mental stimulation. A lot of people don't even have time to play with their pets. You know how many houses I've been to where their dogs are kept in cages? Like, why do you have a dog if you're going to keep your animal in a cage? You get what I'm saying? Do you want to be in a house and be in a cage? But they keep them in a cage because they don't have time to play with them at times. They're too busy with work. Well, why do you have the animal for? You get what I'm saying? And then you just feed them or keep a bowl of dry or wet food inside the cage. I've seen this happen, you know? And you go into somebody's house, there's dry food always out available for the animal. You know what I'm saying? See, here's the thing. I notice my cats, they don't drink water, okay? And they don't drink water is because they're already getting the water from the raw meat and food that I'm giving them. I also give them raw eggs. So that's a high water content for them there in and of itself. Sometimes I may put the chicken or the meat or whatever I have in there and mix and just throw a raw egg on top of that food. And they're eating the raw food with the raw egg all together. That's a lot of hydration for that animal. Now they have very powerful kidneys and they're able to process this protein, but it's also balancing the electrolyte balance in their body as well. They don't need to go drink water. And if they're in a dehydrated state and they're drinking the water that you're providing for them, that water is not even good water for them. They're drinking faucet water or spring water. And then when you start to ask yourself, why does my cat have a urinary blockage? Or why does my cat have this condition of crystallization in whatever areas of their body they have? Or why they have skin conditions, which is basically a reflection of what's going on in their body, inside their body in the kidneys. You'll start to see the manifestation of that in their skin, just like you do in a human. And this is all coming to imbalanced chemistry. That's what it's coming down to. You know? So, I don't know, man. I mean, because they're fat don't mean that they're healthier. You see a child, oh, look at the little rosy cheeks and the little kid is all pudgy. You look at that as a child is so cute. But when you look at a child who's a lot leaner, oh man, you need to put some meat in your bones. You know, give it. And that's what everybody's program. Like grandma would always now start to want to cook the food and fatten your child up and whatnot. It's a program. That's just part of life. It's how it is. You get what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with that. They call that soul food. Sometimes grandma's cooking is very good. You know, because it's not even the nutritional value, because sometimes it could be the most unhealthiest meal. But the fact that it's made with so much love, it could be the healthiest meal you've ever had in your life. But the whole thing is, the animals, the way they're getting fed from these foods in the supermarket, like the pet foods, this is all in the interest of profit. That's all it is. And when something's in the interest of a profit, all right, and they're not concerned with your health, there's no love energy in there. There's no love frequency in that food you're eating. It's just like marijuana. People start to talk about marijuana being bad or good. See, the whole thing with marijuana is that marijuana, for one, is laced. And the energy behind the intent of why you're even growing it is to make a profit, to make money. You get what I'm saying? It's a spiritual plant. Marijuana is actually a spiritual plant. But there's no spirituality to it. You know? It's just like sometimes when you do DMT or mushrooms, there's no spirituality to it. Sometimes people microdose just to basically function in a day-to-day life, you know what I'm saying? But there's no spirituality really attached to it. You know, to be connected with nature. You become one with nature, but you have to have that from the inside out. As children, you start to become one with nature by playing in dirt and interacting with viruses and bacteria outside in the soil. That's why they say it strengthens your immune system. You know, but why is it strengthening your immune system? Because that bacteria is actually what's cleaning your body out. We talk about detoxing and cleaning in the wrong fucking ways. By cleaning everything out. That's how medical industry works. Medical industry gives you an antibiotic to clean good bacteria and bad bacteria out of the body. But it leaves you vulnerable for attack. And aside from that, you are not just this body. You're much more than this body. So in actuality, you're concerned with just feeding the body on a health level. But it goes much deeper than this. Aside from that, what are you actually feeding? That's the reason why people are like vampires. You go out and try to vamp energy off other people because you're not getting it from what you're consuming. And besides that, you're not even supposed to be consuming that kind of energy from your foods anyway. You're not supposed to be eating even the amount of foods you eat on a day-to-day basis anyway. There's life in the air as we speak. You know what I'm saying? I've made videos on the fucking Shivambu, which basically talks about, you know, the order in which you process and eliminate. When you shit, technically, that should be given back to the soil if you're eating from nature. Because that's actually supposed to be fertilizer, but nature won't take that because you're too toxic. You're eating pharmaceuticals, you're eating GMO shit. Nature don't like GMO shit, right? And this is a form of detoxing. When you breathe, this is 70% of your toxins being released is through breathing, right? So when you breathe out, what happens? The trees take that toxin that you are actually breathing out, and in kind, they give you back oxygen. Right? This is life force energy right there in and of itself. Now in Midgard, what are you mostly made of? Your body's made of water, right? So you are what you eat. Who's growing watermelons? Who's eating grapes from their garden? Because a lot of people even preaching that they should be eating fruits. At least grow your garden. Try to do something in a sense where you're doing it with a passion and with love, where you have a connection with it, and this is what you intake as life force energy. Because the moment you cut a watermelon, freshly cut from your garden, there's life force energy in there. Aside from the hydration, which is the water content, which is the right kind of water, not the water you buy in the supermarket. This is the right kind of water. Because this is the kind of water that's hydrating you, because you're actually absorbing this water, because it's also alkalizing your body. And if you're too acidic, you're not really absorbing anything. On a cellular level, you're just dehydrated. It's like a plant. When it's dehydrated, you put a gallon of water, most of the water just comes out the bottom of the drain hole. It didn't absorb a gallon of water. And then when you leave it outside in 98-degree weather, 100-degree weather, in a couple hours, it's dried out again. You got to constantly keep giving it that water, right? Look at everything in nature. You find God. That's why you say you have a realization of God in everything outside of you for that reason. Because everything outside of you is you inverted inside out. That's why they say your animal's an extension or a version of you. It's a reflection of you. Your child is a direct version of you. You know what I'm saying? And then the people, places, and things outside of you are stars. Everything you're observing outside of you in the observable universe is you inverted inside out. They're all versions of you. That's why they say your vibe attracts your tribe. But you're like an antenna. You emit and you attract. Okay? You emit a frequency. You're a vibrational being. You know? Electromagnetism. Right? There's two sides of chemistry to this realm that we're in. There's masculine, feminine, electric, magnetic, alkaline acids. You always want to maintain that neutral-based dominance in the body, right? Or the body will actually do it forcefully by robbing calcium from the bones to actually maintain homeostasis, because that calcium is a carbon, it's a buffering agent for the body, right? If you're in an acidic state and you don't make balance, the body will make the balance, but it has to rob off something else. What do you think people are doing? Since they're not getting life force in their thriving natural state, they got to rob it from somewhere else, and that's from people outside of you, is really robbing it from yourself, because these people are versions and extensions of you. These animals can communicate with you. The star constellation that we talk about, Canis Major, which is the dog star, right? And then you got that fucking cat constellation as well. There's a constellation for reptiles. There's the Draco constellation. You see, this is the thing. I had reptiles. And I'm going to link the video in the description of this one and the one before, the video on reptiles I made. Because I'm going to explain to you how we take them out of their natural habitat and they're actually just surviving with you. They're not really thriving, even though they appear to be thriving to you. Because you think when something's vegan, it's healthier than non-vegan. But even vegan people are not really eating a healthy, appropriate diet, because the vegan foods you're eating, such as mock meats or the fucking GMO processed shit, sometimes these mock meats have an ingredient list that looks like a book long with words that you can't even pronounce. If you can't pronounce them, what makes you think your body can fucking process that? Because your body can't understand that fucking shit either. You don't know what you're eating, and you don't know, your body don't even know what you're eating. So it starts to fucking create havoc in the body. So that's all I wanted to cover with the animal videos, okay? Because I just wanted to make that point. You know, upon seeing certain YouTubers wanting to be professionals on like animals, I am not a veterinarian, but a veterinarian don't know shit either. Just like a medical doctor don't know shit. Because if you look at Google medical doctor and a healer, it's two totally different things. A doctor is a licensed practitioner. They have a license to practice medicine. They don't have a license to heal you. That's why when you supposedly come out of a symptom of a disease that we want to call, that's why they call it remission. Because they can't say heal. They didn't heal you. They just treated a symptom, right? You have a check engine light. You put a car in a scanner, you address the root cause of it. You don't just cut the check engine light. That's what doctors do. They just cut the check engine light, you know? Again, do your own research. I don't know shit. I don't know anything. I'm not a medical doctor. These are things that you can look up yourself, okay? So, in case YouTube wants to be all sensitive and everything, okay? I am a healer and a lymphatic iridologist. So, I can speak on certain things, legitimately. But all these things I speak on are allegedly. And I'll use that just to protect my video from like getting fucking taken down. You know what I'm saying? Because I already got one strike on my shit for, honestly, I don't even think it should, I deserved to have that strike. I'm just speaking my opinions like we all do on fucking camera. Everybody you hear on YouTube, you would swear they're speaking truth, but all they're doing is giving you their opinions, right? I'm speaking my opinions here. I hear your opinions. I'm open-minded to listening to your opinions. I actually find your opinions very interesting, you know? And that's what helps me, because I have an open mind to actually receive and connect dots. Because if I had a closed mind and only polarized to my information, then I'm holding a belief system. And these things cause diseases as well. What is a disease in the body? Stagnation. That's all it is. Lack of circulation, lack of flow because of dehydration. A barren desert has no water flowing. If you have a pond and it ain't flowing, you grow fucking fungusy shit on it, right? You may have fucking mosquito larvae in there and everything because the water's not flowing. You can't drink out of that water, right? So anything that doesn't flow tends to rot. So that's why it's the same thing with having negative emotions. When you hold on to grudges, anger, hate, these are emotions you hold on to. That's why they manifest in a physical form of a disease, which is nothing but an entity. Okay? Because you could do that through diet, which is deity, or you could do this by manifesting it yourself. That's why they call them developing symptoms. Okay? You don't really catch any disease. You develop these things from within you. And then you empower them with fear, emotions, and, you know, putting all your faith in doctors and whatnot, which I'll make a separate video on, the doctors and healers and, you know, priests and witches and all that kind of shit, okay? But that's why it's important to even belief systems. You hold on to a belief system, it's more stagnation, man. It should be where you process, take the nutrients you need, and then eliminate. Right? You poop the waste that you don't need. A lot of people hold on to their shit. And what happens when you can't take a shit? It don't feel too good, right? Yeah, that shit don't fucking work out too well. But that's all I got for this video. If you like it, I would appreciate it if you like the video. That does help my channel out a lot. And we will talk soon.